Hey everybody, it's me, Erica, the voice, mind, and guide behind Pillow Talk Confidential. And if you are friends with me on my personal page, you may have seen a post earlier this morning that I was going to be off Facebook for a while. But you know, Facebook is like potato chips. You can't just have one. And I always get sucked back in for some reason, even though I have the majority of my notifications off. So I just wanted to touch on something really quick. I have been fighting a migraine since Friday, which I believe I've mentioned in one of my posts. And when I fight these migraines, I become extremely sensitive to everything that's going on around me, and I don't mean just light and noise. I mean literally sensitive to thoughts and other people's energies. But I also become very introspective and try and really dive deep into what it is that I'm doing. And I don't think it's because hi Ricky, I don't think it's because I'm looking for an answer to get rid of my headache. As a matter of fact, it probably makes my headache worse. It's just where my mind goes. You know, you're laying in bed, you're nursing these migraines, and you start thinking about, well, hi. You start thinking about, you know, tomorrow or 2 months from now, or sometimes you start thinking about 18 years ago. It's been a really interesting couple of weeks for me as far as things happening that were somewhat enlightening, very, very odd and uncomfortable, as well as, you know, the fact that I'm still dealing with my dogs going to Seattle with my husband, ex-husband, who doesn't necessarily want to take them because he's going to be living in his parents' house, and his parents have cats, and my Jack Daniels doesn't really get along with anyone, doesn't get along with other dogs. So thank you, Ricky, for the offer, but he really doesn't get along with other dogs except his brother, who he's been with for 12 years, and he really doesn't get along with cats. So I was thinking, well, maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. Maybe I should take over the lease from my husband and get either one roommate or two roommates, because it is a 4-bedroom house, and make a go of it, and then the dogs can stay. But there's so much expense involved in that. It's in Donny Park, so you're on propane instead of natural gas. It's not septic, it's cistern, so I would have to set up water delivery when all this time he's been handling water hauling himself. Well, not all this time, but for the last several years he's had a truck and a tank that he could deliver water himself or haul water himself, and that's a hell of a lot cheaper than hiring a company. Propane gets ridiculously expensive, and the house is heated on propane and the stove is on propane. So there's a lot of little things that don't necessarily make it ideal. And then of course there's the issue of actually finding a roommate, and hoping that that roommate likes dogs and would be willing to sit my dogs when I go and see Lynn, because I don't want to give up a 4-year relationship with Lynn, but I also don't want to lose my dogs. So what do you do? Right? Kind of mad at both these guys right now because neither one of them are being very cooperative. So I had said that I was going to take a break from Facebook, but I got sucked back in. It's harder to do than most people realize, at least people who aren't on Facebook. But one of the reasons I was going to take a break is because I really don't know what I'm doing to try and earn some extra income so that I can live on my own. And I was confronted with some questions and statements that made me really uncomfortable, and really made me take a pause as to what it is exactly I do. And the fact of the matter is, I don't do anything. I am just here, and people seek me out for advice and guidance. I'm not going to charge my friends money to need a shoulder to cry on. That's just not who I am. That's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. So apparently my blog that I'm working on is not really a business because it's not marketable, which is just okay, great. Well, now I feel like I've just wasted $1,800 on building it for something that's not marketable, and that kind of sent me into a downward spiral. And then I remembered that, this is one person's opinion. Now, granted, I really resonate with a lot of things that this person says, but for the most part, being told that what you're doing is not really a business is kind of harsh, right? So I've been thinking on this all day, which is probably why my headache is back. And I realized what it is that I naturally am. And basically, I am an advice columnist and a persons with disabilities advocate. It's that simple. Can I monetize that in a blog? I have no idea. But more importantly, if I sit and really think about what it is I'm passionate about, the one thing I'm really passionate about is illegal in every state except Nevada. And even then, it's only legal in certain counties. So, and it's pretty unrealistic for me to get involved in that business. So here I lay. Henry will be moving in a little less than 3 months. Rehoming my dogs, with the exception of rehoming them to his ex-girlfriend, who the dogs already know her dog and get along relatively okay, which, as far as I'm concerned, is not an option because I still will never see them. At least if my babies go with Henry to Seattle, I can go up there every couple of months and get an extended stay room that allows pets and hang out with them for a while, or something to that effect. But it's a lot to deal with. It's completely overwhelming, and as you all know, I have no one but Lynn here in Sedona. My next closest, emotionally closest friend is in Phoenix. So an hour and a half, 2 hours away. She works a full-time job. She has her own set of friends, and I don't really get to see her very often. I don't get along with my sibling that lives in Phoenix, and my other siblings, well, my one sister that I get along with really well is in Florida, and my other friends that I get along with that are really that that I am really close with are all back east. And I'm not about to move back east because, once again, that means giving up Lynn. And to a certain extent, I am dependent on him. He drives me to the majority of my appointments, especially when they're in Phoenix. He has been doing laundry for me for I don't know how long because bending over is such a problem. He loves to cook, and I can't stand in place for any long period of time. As you can tell, I'm laying down right now because he just ran out to pick up his son from daycare, or preschool, whatever you want to call it. And then we have his grandson, and then we have him until 9:30 tonight. So I'm getting some rest before the 3.5-year-old that's the size of a 7-year-old shows up. And I love that kid. I love him with all my heart. I've been in his life since before he came out of his mom's belly. And he calls me Gigi, and he kind of gets that Lynn and I aren't married, but is confused by the fact that I'm always here and I don't sleep in the same room, but in the same room as Lynn, but he calls me Gigi. It's very, very confusing for him. But I don't want to lose him either. If I lose Lynn, I lose him. And that would really suck. So, no matter how much journaling I do, no matter how much thinking about what I am good at or passionate at or what I can make a business of, it always comes back to nada. My dream was always to be a stay-at-home mom. And now I'm in a situation where I don't have kids, can't have kids, don't have my dogs. One of the reasons we had so many dogs was because we couldn't have kids. And it really is kind of a clusterfuck of emotions. So I actually am going to try and stay away from my personal page on Facebook and only be posting in here and maybe one or two other private pages on Facebook. Couple of girls that I really like to interact with. So make sure you check in here, a couple of times a week. Because I'll be popping in and out, but for now I really got to figure this stuff out because it's slowly killing me. 5 days of a headache because I'm so stressed about having to make a choice basically between my dogs, and my boyfriend is really unpleasant. So, with all that said, I would love anyone and everybody to give me some input on their advice. I may or may not take it. I do take constructive criticism well. I'm open to ideas. Ricky, again, thank you so much for offering to take my dogs in. But as I said, Jack Daniels is kind of a butt and really doesn't get along with, he doesn't get along with other animals, doesn't even really get along with other people all that well. He's very, very picky, very protective. Anyway. So, that's it for now. I'm going to sign off. Lynn and his grandson should be back soon. Looks like we're getting snow in Flagstaff. How crazy is that? It's May 1st, and I can look up on the plateau and see that it is either pouring up there or snowing up there right now. So, fun May 1st weather. Awesome. You gotta love northern Arizona. Anyway, drop a line. Tell me what you think. Tell me I'm being a big baby. Tell me my thought process makes sense, but, eventually you need to just make a decision. whatever it is that pops into your head. This is a totally open conversation. So, share. Tell me what you think. Give me your advice. Because I'd love to hear it. So you all have a good night, and hopefully I'll be reading some comments as they come in. Ciao for now.